Welcome back to Heartbeat of the Timbavati. I'm so happy to update you a little bit on the Mayan Bulas and their progress. Looks like the females has brought the cubs far to the northeast after the last incursions of those young Birminghams. And in the last few days there was reports that they did move further northwest, so they're out of the area. So at the moment, risk-free with regards to new nomadic males. So one of the younger cubs with could be her mother, enjoying the early morning sun. It's quite early on a early spring morning, fairly crisp and the air not too cold. But the big cats are looking towards the drainage line. They might end up there for the day and go sleep. So it's been a few episodes since we last saw the wonderful, legendary SKORRO males, and there's one of them sleeping already. It must have been quite a long, hard night. But the last that I did hear of them, they were much further to the east on a buffalo carcass, the entire pride, and that was a few days ago, so I bet that gave them enough energy to sustain the pride for another few days. And the belly doesn't look completely empty there. You never know if they caught something small during the night, and as the African sun burns throughout the early morning hours into the late morning, it's going to be digesting, probably in a bit of shade later on. But for now, as we usually say, a flat cat.
Mayan Bula, double highway, another injection.
Like some of the cubs just tuck themselves in under those magic quarries right behind this oldish lioness. Fairly close bypass there at the back, but it seems like the guys are settling in for the day. Yeah, folks, so the other SKORRO male, probably about a good 40 meters from his brother, also in the same position at easy Sunday posture, settling in. But they have been spending more time with the females in the last 2 days apparently, so maybe the boys are hungry and they stay in touch with the females in case they get lucky. And of course, with all the nomadic males in the area moving about and lurking on the edges of their boundaries, probably wise to stay close to your females and your cubs. Gonna drive around, see if we can get some eyes on some of the other females and cubs. So there's the rest of the pride, folks. They tucked in to some thick grass, but I did hear that all 11 cubs are still intact and alive. The 8 older ones of almost 9 months now, and then the 3 younger siblings, that's about 4.5, almost 5 months. So the initial 11 is still doing well, and they sort of in the frame under those magic quarries in between the grass. And the other young lioness has still been moving down south towards the Mashaton, where she's set up a den site with newborns, but we haven't seen them yet. We've just seen signs of her moving in and out of the river. So we're still going to have to wait a few days, maybe a few weeks before we see the new cubs. So not the greatest of visuals, but obviously it's great news to hear that the lions are still doing well, our local Mayan Bula pride, and that the 11 cubs are still with us. And that's despite a mortality rate of anything between 40 and 50% of lion cubs never see it 24 months or adulthood because of all the adversities that they have to face out here.
Feeding, 2 out of 5 visual, stand by the open.
Performing some allo grooming, behavior that's seen extremely frequently with lions. I think they sometimes do have parasites and ticks around the neck area, which obviously helps to get rid of them, but it also strengthens the bond between the individuals. There's the show of love.
Stood too, haven't they?
Brian, stand by for me again.
21.
You get this too?
Copy.
Here the Mayan Bula pride continuing south, moving closer towards the areas where they used to, the core area, sort of north of a cut line, where they haven't spent much time. They're heading more to the area which they know better.
Shoulder, stand by.
What's the orientation on JD?
this is about our time to start pulling out of the sighting. But man, it's always a pleasure to share the progress of the Mayan Bulas with you all, and thanks again for watching. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. Ring all the bells for the next videos on the Mayan Bulas with the mighty SKORRO boys, and see how this lion saga and lion dynamics unfolds here in the Timbavati Game Reserve. Well, welcome back, guys. This is a surprise sighting. Let's call her the warthog slayer of the Timbavati, but this is that lone sark lioness. Again, checking the termite mounds for any activity. She briefly paused on that one, now she's moving away. It shows you how some of the cats get into the habit of hunting some species out here. So the lone sark lioness just pausing briefly in some shade. When there's a bigger group of lionesses hunting, they're much more inclined to hunt at night because hyenas will hesitate to overpower them on a carcass. But for lone walking individual lioness, guys, it's quite interesting to note that they hunt more actively by daylight hours. When they do make a kill, there's less chance of them actually being overpowered by hyenas itself. If you do think about it, normally lions hunt by night when they expend less energy. She's basically walking from shade to shade. What a story. Imagine if we could follow her until she raises her own cub successfully. Absolutely blast of a sighting when she dug out a warthog from its burrow, and she had to be very resilient and persistent to do that. It took some time. Edging closer to 10 o'clock on an early spring morning, warming up slightly, and I don't think that she'll move too far away from this spot. She'll probably be looking for another termite mount or two to investigate the burrows to see if there's any tenants. Perhaps a tenant for a late breakfast later. But on that note, I'm going to greet you from the Timbavati Game Reserve. This is Christof Schoeman. Thanks again for watching. Ring all the bells if you haven't yet. Subscribe. Stay safe and cheers for now.